You're now tuning in to the Here's the Deal podcast, covering today's biggest stories from the gridiron to the hardwood. Hosted by Michael D. White Jr. and David Coleman.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Here's the Deal, episode 12, season 2. Ready to get into another great episode. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing good, man. As you can see, I'm making it, as some people would put it. I'm making it.
Yeah, we just got done watching the Rockets Warriors game, and the Celtics Bucks game. They just wrapped up game 4, so every series has gone through game 4 so far, so we're recording this pretty late, guys, but we're going to get y'all a good episode, all right?
Before we get into the playoffs, let's start talking a little LeBron and Lakers, because, you know, we got to represent my team on this podcast. So recently on The Shop, the episode that debuted on May 4th, LeBron spoke out about the whole Magic Johnson situation, him stepping down, and basically said he got no information that Magic Johnson was going to leave. He ain't get a phone call. Magic ain't text my guy, nothing. He just stepped down. So LeBron felt that was kind of weird because one of the main reasons he came to LA was because of the sit down he had with Magic Johnson. So I asked you, what do you think about LeBron not knowing about this? Basically no players knowing about this. And was this the right decision by Magic Johnson, or was he in the wrong?
I think Magic, he's his own man. He has the right to, make his own decisions. He doesn't have to go by asking LeBron, is it okay, Rob Pelinka, or Jeanie Buss. He doesn't have to go by any of them. I believe it's the professional thing to do, to go and, give them a heads up that I will be resigning, I will be stepping down from this position. But I believe he doesn't have every right to go out there and do it, makes him happy, because at the end of the day, he wanted to be Magic Johnson. That's what he said he wanted to be. He couldn't be Magic being the president of the Lakers organization. So I don't fault him for the decision. The way he went about it, it could have been done better. I assume that LeBron didn't know, because it just kind of came on. It's like a random day throughout the week. It's
before the last game.
It's just a random press conference he held. So I figured he didn't contact anybody about it. So it didn't surprise me that LeBron didn't know about it or anybody else didn't know about it. But hey, I mean, with the rumors going around, we know why he did that. Like, in that you can't be CCing him on accident talking trash about him. So I mean, it kind of makes sense if I look at it from that angle of why he wouldn't go about telling Jeanie Buss and everybody else in the organization.
I guess for me, I still don't like it. Magic being a businessman, he knows this was not the way businessmen conduct business. If, like, let's say, for instance, me and you, we're doing this podcast together. If I hit you up and say, yo, we need to do this podcast together, I need you, let's do this, we're going to do it together, make it the hottest thing ever. And then I decided one day, I'm not doing it no more. And you calling me to come record, you would feel some type of way. You'd be kind of tight, like, yo, what's going on? You couldn't at least give me the common courtesy. You know what I mean? So I think that's where Magic Johnson messed up. I think LeBron was in every right to react the way he did. Now, you're right. Magic Johnson's his own man. He doesn't need to answer to this person and that person. But at the end of the day, at the time, you were the president of basketball operations for the Los Angeles Lakers. You have questions that need to be answered. Now, whether you were getting, slandered in email and things like that, that may be true. And Jeanie Buss and Rob Pelinka probably handled that the wrong way. Well, let's not say handled. They're dumb for CCing the person they're talking about.
Why you emailing? It's 2019.
Why are you CCing Magic Johnson? I know that wasn't no accident. What'd you hit? Reply all? I don't know. Whatever. Look. But the point is, look, Magic Johnson is a businessman at the end of the day. Dropping off from the Lakers, not fulfilling that summer promise that you said 2 years and we'll be back. That's what he said to me. I believed you, Magic. Just walking off before the last game of the season without telling maybe the best player in the NBA who, whether some people say he was coming to LA or not, that meeting you and him had was a big deal to him. So I think it was a bad decision by Magic. I think he'll learn from it. I think he'll grow from it because, I mean, he's an older guy. He knows this stuff already. Yeah. But ultimately, when I sit back and I look at the decision, I don't like it. It was in bad taste, and I hate how he did it.
Hey, Magic just wanted to join NBA Twitter, man. He just wanted to get back up on it.
That's basically what I'm seeing because
so ever since then, he be congratulating players after the game. Great performance. Like, that's all he wanted to do deep down.
I'm just not understanding. Here's what I don't understand about Magic Johnson. You stepped down from the Lakers organization. They're talking about you. You couldn't do this. You couldn't do that. Got it. Why are you, a week or two later, taking pictures with Jeannie Buss, saying, yeah, I'm talking to Rob Pelinka every day? Why weren't you talking to him during the season when we was trying to get through? Look, I just don't understand this whole dynamic. I understand that, at the end of the day, Magic's always going to be LA. He's always going to be a Laker. Yeah. But a week later of you stepping down and you crying in the press conference, you already taking pictures from the people you stepped away from the franchise you stepped away from. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm very confused by this decision by Magic.
It's a messy situation. I think it just kind of speaks towards the whole dysfunction with the Lakers ever since, Kobe retired, like a couple of years before he retired. It's just been very dysfunctional. A lot of people that I don't trust with basketball decisions, and nobody's there for the long term, it seems like. Other than Jeannie Buss, nobody is there for the long term. And she's only there because it's her family business. Like, other than that, you don't know who's the GM. You don't know who's the coach at any given second. You don't know who's the president of basketball operations. And that's just what it speaks to me for this situation.
You just don't even know who's calling the shots. I think they went to interview Monty Williams before he got hired, and we'll talk about that later. But I think Jeannie Buss showed up with Rob Pelinka, Kurt Rambis, Linda Rambis. She showed up with a whole squad. So, who is making decisions? I know at the end of the day, Jeannie has the power, but someone has to be making basketball decisions for the Lakers, and I just don't know who it is. And that my team is just in a flexive state right now. I just don't understand the things that are happening around my team. Magic stepping down. We don't know who's calling the shots. Is it this Rambis? Is it that Rambis? We just need to get all our damn money together that we supposedly making, because as one of the most historical franchises in league history, get that money together, however much you need, and throw it at Jerry West, throw it at Masai Ujiri, throw it at one of these guys who's proven, who knows what they're doing. Stop, like everybody be saying on these shows, stop running this organization like it's a mom and pop. I got to hire my son or my brother. No. Hire the best candidate so the Lakers, I don't know, maybe make the playoffs while they still have LeBron in somewhat of his peak form. That's what I'm hoping for. Jesus.
All right, let's get off of the Lakers. Let's go ahead and talk about some playoffs. So, going into the second round, been a great second round so far. I've really enjoyed it. We've had a lot of great players step up. So, I wanted to get into the top 10 players of this entire postseason so far. So, who's had the best run considering competition, considering their numbers, and just leading their team and everything like that. So, we're going to give you our top 10 players so far throughout this postseason. Let's go ahead and start with number 10. I'm going to start with my number 10. My 10th best player this postseason is Jamal Murray. I really like the way he's played so far for the Nuggets. I love his game. He's first team all Kobe to me. He sometimes he'll leave you scratching your head. Hey, he thinks he's Kobe. It's not a disrespect to Kobe. It's the people that he left behind. Jamal Murray, he thinks he can go out there and do anything. He surprised me last game. He had dunked on two of the Blazers at the same time. I didn't know he had that in his game. He's just been really good. Last game, he's dropped, I believe, 32, hit all his free throws, and shot 50% from the field. So he came up big in Game 4 against the Blazers. So he is my 10th best player in this postseason.
All right, at number 10, I have Joel Embiid. Now, some people probably question why is he so low. I mean, he's missed time. He's had games where he hasn't really been that effective on the court. But I have him at number 10 because the games he has decided to play and he's been dominant. Look at that game 2 against Toronto. Dominant. I think he had 33 points, a bunch of blocks, a bunch of boards. When he's on his A game and his knees ain't hurting, apparently, or he's not sick,
yeah.
or with this virus and that virus, he is one of the best big men we've ever seen two ways on both sides of the court. So I have Embiid still at number 10. Even though he had some bad games and things of that nature, I still think what he did in the first round and what he did in game 2, I think those still stand out strong enough where he deserves credit to be on the list.
Okay, I like that. Embiid's not on my list, but I respect it. He's definitely showed up in, just about every game except for a few here and there.
He's sick, man.
But
Get that man some water.
Yeah, I don't know why he's always like, it's either his health or just something always going on. But he's a great player. Going on to number 9 for me, I had Chris Middleton. When he gets to the playoffs, it just seems like he shows out for the Bucks. He continues to elevate his game when they get to the playoffs, whether it be points, playmaking, or just doing whatever it takes to win. I believe he's one of the better players in the league. He doesn't get a lot of credit. He's pretty underrated. But he's been the 9th best player to me so far in this postseason, really helping out Giannis in this playoff run.
Definitely a nice, solid piece to compliment him. For me at number 9, I have the guy you just had at number 10. I have Jamal Murray. I'm not going to get into it too much because you've already basically explained to everybody why Murray's on your list. Same reason for my list. He's been a spark plug for them when they needed him. Last game, he hit those crucial free throws going down the stretch. I think I seen some meme or something saying that he used to shoot free throws blindfolded back in the day. So he better hit them damn free throws.
After the game, he's like, I love free throws.
Yeah, he better hit them damn free throws. But yeah, the dude's a spark plug. He can get hot at any second from 3, mid-range. He can create for others. I like Jamal Murray, even though I'm not the hugest fan. So I have him at number 9.
All right, so for my number 8, I had to consider competition. That's why I put him over Chris Middleton. I put CJ McCollum as my number 8 because he's had to go against OKC Thunder and he's had to go against the Nuggets right now, and I believe those are 2 very good teams. So I decided to put him as my number 8 player. He's showed up. Him and Dame have been running stuff, so he's been the running mate for Dame as far as carrying the scoring load, and he's just been showing up clutch whenever Dame's not on his A game. He's on his A game. So, and they just play off each other very well. So that's why he's my number 8 and so far throughout this postseason.
All right, my next guy is Mr. Pascal Siakam from the Toronto Raptors. Now, outside of last game where he struggled and they still won, he's been excellent in the playoffs. Like, you had him as your most improved player of the year. I had D'Angelo Russell, but like I said back then, I wouldn't be surprised if Siakam won. Just like we said, most improved, attacks the basket, plays defense, can shoot from the outside, puts the defense in such a position where they have to stop his crazy layup package like we've talked about before. He has the craziest lay package left in the playoffs right now. Yeah, so I have Siakam right there. I think he's been a consistent bright spot outside of Kawhi Leonard for the Raptors because there hasn't been much of anybody else. It's been pretty much Kawhi and Siakam at the most. So I have Siakam right there. I think he's been playing excellent in the playoffs. I think this bodes well for him going forward.
Yeah, definitely shout out Siakam. My number 7 player is Jimmy Butler. I believe he's really elevated his game. He was my X factor coming into this playoffs for the 76ers. If he plays good, or to the potential that we all think that he can, being a great two-way player, giving you, let's say, 18 to 24 points and somewhat slowing down whoever the best player is on the other team. He's a top player in this league, so that's why I have him as number 7 for me, and he's done that so far. He's shown a lot of leadership as far as post-game interviews, even just going to the interview, making sure Embiid doesn't say any bulletin board material, which is hard enough to, kind of stop him from doing that. He wants to, troll so much. He's so good at that. So.
You need to just play.
Exactly, just play. Like, he's dominant enough where his play can do the talking. So, but for me, Jimmy Butler has been the best player on the Sixers so far in the postseason to me. So that's why I have him as number 7.
So in my number 7, great minds think alike, I have Jimmy Butler. He really impressed me in Game 2 against Toronto. I feel like he was one of the main reasons they won that game. Even though Embiid was great, Jimmy Butler was the one hitting key shots, threes after threes down the court, playing defense, doing what he can against Kawhi Leonard, even though that's not much. But Jimmy Butler has definitely been playing, and I think this is going to cause the Sixers to maybe look at him again this offseason. A lot of people assume he's going to leave and go elsewhere, but do you have someone as poised and playoff ready as him on the team? I don't know, because Embiid's always hurt.
Yeah.
Simmons can't shoot a jumper. Tobias Harris is good, not great. I think Jimmy Butler is somebody they're going to have to look at. It's just going to be Are you willing to offer him a max at 30 years old?
If I'm the Sixers, I give him the max because you really don't have any other options. And at the end of the day, I think that's more going to be Jimmy Butler's decision whether or not he stays or not. Right. It's going to be more, do I want to stay with the 76ers or do I want to go to Brooklyn or LA, whichever one it is. So that would be my take on as far as 76ers keeping him. But my number 6 player this postseason has been the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's been great for the Bucks so far. He's somewhat living up to that MVP season that he's had so far. He's had a bad game here or there, but for the most part, pretty consistent. Starting to improve his jump shot a little bit. He's making a little bit more threes than we're accustomed to seeing him do because in the playoffs, they're stacking up the paint against him. So he's realizing he does have to shoot. So that development, still a top 6 player to me. Didn't crack my top 5, but still great.
At number 6, I have C.J. McCollum, the Robin to Dame Lillard's Batman. Look, I think it's time, if you haven't already been doing it, time to start considering C.J. McCollum and Dame Lillard as one of the best backcourts in the league. C.J. McCollum on his own, crazy handles, can pull up from mid-range, can pull up the 3 in transition, can get to the rim. There's really nothing he can't do on offense, and he's such a vital piece to that team because even though it is rare when Dame is off, they look to C.J. McCollum to carry their offense. He's shown he can do that in game in and game out, especially against the Nuggets. I forget whether it was the last game or the game before, but down the stretch, he was hitting shots left and right, getting to the line, getting to the glass. I like everything about C.J. McCollum. I have him ranked 6 right now out of all the playoff players.
Yeah, he's showing up big. My 5th player throughout this playoffs has been
top 5.
James Harden. I got to put the beard at number 5, considering played against the best defense in the league. Utah, the first series, they were guarding him with all the gimmicks. He still found a way to show up. The only bad game that I've really considered him, not showing up, not being the same MVP player that we are accustomed to seeing is the 3 for 20 game. But in that game, he did show up when they needed him most throughout the fourth quarter. So that's why I have him number 5. I don't believe he's really had a whole bunch of bad games. He's done what's been needed in order to win. He's been pretty great. Obviously, his numbers aren't out of this world because every defense is tailored towards him. He's getting doubled throughout the Warriors series and things like that. So every defense is tailored to him, but he's doing what I think would be the best that you can do against these types of defenses and getting his team's wins.
All right, starting off my top 5. At number 5, I got Mr. Big Shot, who you like to call Logo Lillard. I got Damian Lillard sitting at 5. Do I need to say much more? You saw what he did against OKC. He's not scoring quite as much against the Nuggets, but he's doing other things, keeping his teammates involved, trying to play a little defense out there. He's doing what they need him to do for them to win. But that first series by itself gives him top 5 status for me. The walk-off, all of that, I loved it. And who knows, isn't what that series tied now, right? 2-2?
Yeah, 2-2.
That series could swing any way at this moment, but I mean, you never know. We could be seeing the Blazers in the Western Conference Finals after a disappointing first-round exit last year. That would be huge for Damian Lillard and his career. So I have Dame right there, number 5.
Yeah, so for my number 4 player is Nikola Jokic. I'm going with the Joker from Denver. He's been very consistent throughout this playoffs. He shows up. It seems like he's giving you a triple-double either like every other game, dropping 30-plus pretty often throughout this playoffs. He's been great throughout the playoffs, getting them through the Spurs series. He's pretty unguardable at this point. He's looking like one of the best. He is one of the best big men in the league. I look at him as a point guard almost. Being a big man, I understand is weird, but he's like, I don't want to say a new age Magic Johnson because they don't play the same per se, but as far as his passing ability, he gives me that type of feel for somebody so big.
He's definitely the best passing big man in the league.
I think all time.
I can't think of nobody else that I could definitively say is better than him at passing at the center position, so I would agree with you. I'm just going to pick up where you left off because that's who I had next on my list anyways, was Jokic. So he's been great. Like I said, he leads his teams in points, rebounds, assists. They run their offense through him. He's been more aggressive, which has been one of my main concerns about him because I just thought I need to see more from him. I need to see those 40-point games. And he's definitely showed us that now. He showed us he can be aggressive. He can be the focal point of the offense and not just be, pass first. He's shown us, okay, if I need to score, then I'll go out here and do that. So that's why I have Jokic right there in the same position on my list.
Okay, so my third best player is Damian Lillard. He's shown me a lot throughout this playoffs, man. I was rough on him coming into it. I'm going to keep saying that. He didn't show me a lot, leading up to this from last year and a couple years before that. He hasn't been the same Damian Lillard in the postseason that he was in the regular season. But throughout that first round, I'm not sure if I've seen anybody demolish a player, like between the whole beef between Dame and Russ, other than Hakeem versus David Robinson. Other than Hakeem was going at David Robinson. I haven't seen anything like that since then. So I applaud him for that competition as well. He's been against teams that he's not the favorite in any of these series, against the Thunder or against the Nuggets. Those are two teams that I think we both think are better than the Trailblazers. Obviously, first round, a lot of people are hyped off the Trailblazers against the Nuggets, but he's been phenomenal throughout this. 37-foot pull-up. That's all I'm going to say. 37-foot pull-up. That's all that needs to be said. You hitting that in the playoffs, you big time. You big time. Top three.
For me, my number 3 is a tie between two players. I have James Harden and Giannis both at number 3. Both the top 2 MVP candidates. Both of them has had some ups. Both of them had some downs in the playoffs so far. But at the end of the day, they're still the best players on their teams. And at the end of the day, their team goes as they go. Right now, the Bucks sit up 3-1. So can I say Giannis has been playing that bad? No, he had 39 tonight. It looks like they took the Celtics' heart tonight. They was letting him just do whatever he wanted towards the end of the game. So you have that. Then you have Harden, who's had some down games. And I was talking to you last week about how I want to see him be more efficient, go out, get these high-scoring games that you have in the regular season in the playoffs. I'm tired of seeing you coming out of the game with 24 points, 25. No. I need 38. I need 40. I need 42. I need to see you put your team on your back, because you are that guy. You are the former MVP. You might be the MVP coming up. So I needed to see that. And tonight we saw that again as the Rockets tied the series up. So I have Giannis and Harden tied at number 3 for me.
What a cop-out.
Had to.
My second spot, I got Kevin Durant. I got KD as my second best player in this postseason. He's been nothing short of phenomenal. He's been showing out ever since game 2 of the Clippers series, when everybody was hard on him because I believe he had more turnovers than shots or something like that. So he's been phenomenal ever since then. He's been dropping 30 consistently. I don't think he's had one game that he hasn't dropped 30, I believe. So other than that, he's showed why he's looked at as possibly the best player in the league. I don't believe he's been the best in this playoff so far due to another guy out there in the East, but he's my second best so far for the Warriors. He's really carrying that team. Steph hasn't been as great as we're accustomed to seeing him be, or Klay Thompson. So he's really put that team on his back and showed why he is the best player on that specific team, at least.
Yeah, so I have KD in the exact same position, number 2. What can I say? He's unstoppable. Mid-range, 3-point range, inside, fadeaway, hook shot, left hand, right hand, PJ Tucker on him, Harden on him, Beverly. It doesn't.
Don't disrespect. All right?
It don't matter. It doesn't matter who he has on him, unless the only way KD's missing is if KD misses. It ain't gonna be because of you. So KD has been amazing, like you said, ever since that game. Where he told, hey, y'all know who I am. Why y'all playing with me? Like, people were really trying to make it seem like Pat Bev could lock up KD. I love Pat Bev. He could lock up a lot of people. He ain't locking up 7 foot with a pull-up jumper like that. So, yeah, I agree with you. I have KD as number 2. Who is the consensus number 1? I think we're going to agree on this.
Yeah, I guess we'll agree on number 1. Who you got, man?
Come on, man. The Claw.
Kawhi
right? Leonard. Who else?
Right. The former Spur, Kawhi Leonard, currently on the Toronto Raptors. It's been a while since we've seen him healthy. I think that's why people haven't had him in our top 5 rankings and things like that. But now that the postseason has come around, we're starting to see that greatness that we have seen so long for Kawhi ever since he had won that Finals MVP. He really took a big leap in 2014, and ever since then, He's been on this constant tear of getting better year by year. He's become a great shooter, shooting 50, 40, pretty consistently. He's shown that he can be a great 3-point shooter, hitting that game-winning three or game closing
it out,
against the 76ers. He's big time at this point. He's locking up whoever they need him to lock up, no matter who he's guarding. You're not gonna get your averages. That's pretty much how that's gonna go. You put him on the floor, he's dominant on both ends. He's playing that Jordan Kobe type of game, and I love to see that in today's NBA.
It's crazy because I was watching Colin Cowherd today, and he had this whole segment about how, Kawhi's just not valuable. First off, hold on. 40 points on, what'd you say, 62% shooting?
Bruh, he's killing right now.
How much from three?
50 right now.
50% from three, and he's not valuable. You don't see the value in a guy like Kawhi Leonard. When Kawhi Leonard hits the free agent market, if he does this summer, there should be 30 teams trying to sign Kawhi Leonard. Yeah. I don't care what you say, Colin Cowherd. Think about that again. Value. You need to think about what you said. Not value. And his biggest thing is, he doesn't really pass. Okay. Jordan didn't pass like that. Kobe didn't pass like that. He's a score first guy. That's what Kyle Lowry's for, to pass the ball. And while we on that, I've seen Kawhi Leonard share the ball when he has to. I've seen him make great passes while driving to the corner to hit Siakam or hit Norman Powell in the corner. Yeah. So anybody who tells me Kawhi Leonard is not valuable, I need some of whatever you rolling up. Because it's some good stuff, and I'm genuinely interested. So I didn't understand that by Cowherd at all today. I clicked off the TV when he said that. Kawhi Leonard has been the best player in these playoffs, bar none. I have nothing bad to say about Kawhi Leonard. I think when this free agency comes, whoever gets him is getting a bargain. Toronto better do whatever they can. Drake better show up, put on a concert like Westbrook did for George. He threw a whole concert.
Yeah, Nas did.
Yeah, Drake, you better pull out all the stops. Y'all need Kawhi Leonard, and I hope and pray my Lakers do whatever they can to get this man, because that's the type of player I want on my team.
Yeah, the OVO Fest needs to just be the Kawhi Fest this year.
That's
it.
Just bring make Kawhi it the Kawhi out, Fest. Fresh straight backs, get him on stage. I get it. It's cool.
I say, make him treat him like the superstar he is. But if he's not valuable, I don't know who is. That's a wild take by Colin. He'll have some wild takes for you. But let's go ahead and get into a recap of the games that we've had so far. Like we said, we've missed a couple games. Every series is at least in game 4 at this point. We're going to start off with our Bucks versus Celtics series. So what did you think about the recent games that have gone on? Any key things that you're seeing, any adjustments that are really catching your eye throughout these series?
So on the Celtics side of it, it's about Kyrie Irving. Over these last 2 games, I believe the game before last, he was 7 for 22. Tonight, he was 8 for 22, so 34% over the last 2 games. He's really struggling. When I look at everybody else, they're actually being pretty efficient. Jason Tatum's pretty efficient. Now, he hasn't showed out like he did in the first round, but he's not shooting bad. Jaylen Brown's shooting good. Marcus Morris is shooting good. It's really about the best player on that team not being able to carry them right now. And it sucks to say that because I picked the Celtics to win this series, and I think they would have a good shot against Golden State. But right now, Kyrie Irving is not looking like everything's all good. He's missing a lot of shots. And I think those other guys on that team are noticing that. Because remember, before this started, they felt like they could do without them. Now, in the first round, Kyrie was amazing. I was like, now they seeing why they need him. But now you're down 3-1. He's shooting the worst out of all of you. I think it's something we need to look at. Also, Gordon Hayward. Yeah. 2 points tonight. You can't have 2 points as Gordon Hayward. Yeah. I don't want to hear the injury excuse right now because we saw him play better, especially last round and going forward. So he has to do more. On the Bucks side of it, the Bucks are just being the Bucks. They're hitting a lot of threes. Giannis is dominating the paint. But one thing we need to talk about right now. If I catch George Hill going off, why? How?
George Hill, he's tough. Like I don't understand why. It's gonna start a deeper conversation about LeBron and his supporting cast, but I don't get why he couldn't do this in Cleveland last year.
This ain't the fun.
I don't want to hear the pressure.
George won't ready. He won't ready, but he dropping 21 last game.
He's been the best point guard in this series.
God.
Forget Ed Bledsoe. Forget Terry Rozier. Forget Kyrie. Give me George Hill.
I'm looking at his stats hard as hell. Like, damn, has he?
George Hill has been tough, man. He got, like you said, 9 for 12 in Game 3. He's been the player that like we expect Kyrie to be. We expect Kyrie to be doing what? What's boy name? George Hill.
Mm-hmm.
What George Hill has been doing this series, and he's been showing up, man. I've been taking Pat Connaughton. He's been very good so far this series. He really showed up throughout Game 3 and 4. Him and George Hill. You don't expect that from your role players on the road in Boston. One of the more harder places to play, and they won both games in Boston, which is huge. And I did not expect that. I figured they would split. It would have probably gone back 2-2, but they ended up going back home 3-1. And you think they're going to close the series out?
That was my next question to you. Do you think the Celtics are going down in 5 now?
Yeah, I had Bucks in 6, but I'm going to go with Bucks in 5. I assume they'll want to close out in their home stadium, get Malcolm Brogdon some more rest, and just be waiting for the Eastern Conference Finals.
I hate to say this, I hate to be wrong, but Jesus, tonight just looked like that was it. Like, tonight looked like the end of the series. The body language, Marcus Smart came back. Hey, remember what I said? Marcus Smart came back. Now all of a sudden, nobody can hit the lineups out of rotation. I think they have too many pieces. Yeah. I think when you brought that piece out, it solidified minutes for others. Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, people of that nature.
Get more rhythm, right?
Yeah, but now Marcus Smart comes in. He's 1 for 7.
All threes, though. Like, that's what really caught my eye. It's like all threes, 1 for 7. If you're Marcus Smart, yeah, you've improved your shooting this year, but we don't want you shooting all threes.
Threes?
And when you've gone, I believe he hit 3 at the beginning of the game, so I guess he was probably feeling it, but after you miss the next 3 or 4, we need you to go to the paint. And I understand coming off a torn oblique, you're not trying to get hit per se. Like, you're not trying to go to the paint and take that type of contact. But if you're not that effective, I don't think you should have played tonight. And in all honesty, obviously he's a tough player. His pride's not going to let him just sit out a whole series as his team goes out there and fights. So I understand that aspect. But I can't have you 1 for 7 and you're taking all threes.
1 for 7 definitely not good. If you 1 for 7, you didn't want to lay up. You didn't want to try to get to the line, get you an easy one. He was minus 13 on the night tonight. It's just, man, I can hear that sad swan song coming as the Celtics get ready to go fishing, and I think Kyrie's starting to look at them other rosters, start determining where he gonna go next. Because if they lose in 5, I don't care. I don't care about the Gordon Hayward injury. I don't care about you guys needed to adjust to each other. This is a disappointing season for the Celtics. If they go out in 5 games, I don't care that Milwaukee's the number 1 seed. Before the season started, a lot of people had the Celtics winning the East. Now, whether that be just making it to the finals or having the best record, people felt like the Celtics were going to be there because of their coaching, because of their talent, because of their defense, and because of their superstar they were getting back. And they just haven't lived up to expectations so far.
Yeah, if nothing less, we all expected them to at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Right. Like, that's the bare minimum expectations coming into the season. Adding those stars to your team. You're paying Gordon Hayward $30 million a year. I believe he's the highest paid player on your team. And yeah, he's coming off an injury, but you need to produce to some magnitude. You may not be that same all-star player, go-to player that we expect you to be, but at least give me some type of production. In Game 2, he had 31 minutes, and he only had 5 points and 3 assists. Like, I can't have you out there 30-plus minutes, and you're only giving me that type of production. I could go to Evan Turner, he'd give me more production than that. Like, if I'm paying you that much money, you have to produce at some capacity. So it's between Gordon Hayward and Kyrie not showing up throughout this series. That's what I'm kind of chalk it up to. Kyrie specifically, he wanted his own team. He has his own team. That team went to Eastern Conference Finals last year when you weren't playing in the playoffs. Obviously, the East is better this year, so I'm not going to hold that completely against you why you're not having those same type of results. But we all expected for you to be great, and you're the only person that's not being great so far throughout this playoffs. Jaylen Brown has improved his play throughout the postseason. The Morris brother has improved his play throughout this postseason. Throughout the offseason, he said he's just getting up shots for his brother. He's just working on that three-point shot. And we've seen the results of that throughout this whole entire season. He's been shooting great from 3. And another all-team Kobe guy. He posts you up in the mid-range, and he's just pulling up on you. You think he can make whatever shot?
You're gonna stop throwing around this all-team Kobe there.
Hey, I'm gonna come out with it one day. I'm gonna come with the all-team Kobe, a bench, everything. I'm gonna give you it all. But
who did you just say was all-team Kobe?
Morris, the Morris brother. Here, hey, if you watch him play,
he got some moves.
He got a lot of moves for a guy at his size.
He got some moves.
Anyway, but he'll shoot whatever shot that he think is good on the floor.
Yeah,
he'll shoot a three in your face. He'll shoot a mid-range contested shot. May try and dunk on you for all we know. So like he's another one of those players. He's confident in his game. I guess that's what I mean when I say all-team Kobe. He's extremely confident in his game, and he doesn't let you change the way he plays.
Right.
He dictates what happens on the floor. So far throughout this series, it's surprising to see the Bucks win 3 straight. I really wasn't expecting that. After the Celtics won Game 1, Paul Pierce came out with the statement the Bucks are done.
Yeah, Paul Pierce taking all types of L's this year. Man.
It's not looking good so far, and it's been a disappointment, and the only series that's not 2-2 at this point. But let's go ahead and get to a series that is 2-2 over in the West Coast. So Game 4 of the Rockets series, they ended up tying the series 2-2. The final score was 112-108.
Mm-hmm.
The Rockets held on to the game at the end. They went to the second half. They ended up having a 17-point lead at one point, and the Warriors were able to trickle that down, but never able to get over the hump. So what have you seen from the Rockets and Warriors throughout this series? Curry's dislocated his finger. James Harden's got poked in the eye. There's been a couple of bumps and bruises throughout this series. Do you think that any key adjustments are to be made going into Game 5, going into Oracle for either team?
Adjustment-wise, I think the Warriors did a good job tonight of getting Steph going more. He's really struggled through the first round and through most of this round. He hasn't really been Steph Curry in the playoffs yet, and that's one of the gripes some people have about him. They're saying when he gets to the playoffs, he's not quite that guy he is in the regular season. So I think they did a good job getting him more comfortable shooting tonight. You know, KD's going to get his points at the end of the day. Yeah. KD is going to get his buckets one way or another. But Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are so vital for this team because they have no bench. Mm-hmm. They have no bench. So if you have those two guys out there and they're not performing at the high level and you're just banking on KD, you're 9 times out of 10, you might not win that game. KD's good enough. He can carry a team, but that's kind of not what you want to happen. So I think it's going to be key for the Warriors going back home to make sure that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green get going first. KD can get going at any point. Any point. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are very vital. As far as the Rockets, they've won 2 games in a row. And I'm finally seeing the James Harden I want to see. We talked about this a little bit earlier in our top 10 list. I was tired of seeing him looking for the foul and flailing around. Game 1, I understood. There was a lot of bad calls. I got it. But this is still the playoffs. This is still your legacy. At the end of the day, when the playoffs are over and we look back and we talk about these playoffs, we're not going to say, oh, well, he should have got this call. No, it's going to be an L. That's it. It's just an L at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from James Harden. I'm loving seeing him aggressive, scoring on people, pulling up from half court. I'm loving it. Like I said, Eric Gordon is the X factor for the Rockets.
You was right about that.
He's the X factor. He can give you 30 at any point. We saw that the other night. He was good tonight too. I think his shooting percentage was a little bad, but he was good tonight, attacking the rim, making Steph Curry work on the other side of the court. I think all those things are key for them, and this series is shaping up exactly how we thought it was. 2-2 headed back to the Warriors.
Yeah, we're starting to see a little bit of the effect of Boogie going down with that injury. Like you said, the Warriors aren't deep on the bench anymore. Iguodala's been inserted into the starting lineup. That's taken away some of their bench depth. Now they're only playing 3 players off the bench. They're playing Looney, Livingston, and McKinney. And that's not good enough. That's not a good enough bench to compete with a team of the Rockets' caliber. And you don't want them out there playing long minutes because looking at the guard players like James Harden, Eric Gordon, and Chris Paul. And in today's NBA, you can get those switches automatically. And that's all the Rockets are doing throughout these last 2 games. They're attacking whoever they think the weak defender is, whether it be Steph. Sometimes going at Klay and KD, just making them work on the defensive end. And I think that's really translated to the offensive end for them and why Steph hasn't had his best game so far. Obviously, tonight, Steph Curry and KD, they produced huge. They both dropped 30. And that's huge for the Rockets. They know that they can win when the Warriors' 2 best players are on somewhat of they're on some of their best game. Like, we can win throughout a game like that. So I think it's a huge win for the Rockets. Game 4, they need to win it. Going down 3-1, going into Oracle would not have spelled well for them. But now they got it tied up 2-2, and their confidence is high as ever. They really getting robbed game 1, at least in their minds, I imagine. You think you should be up 3-1, but hey, we're 2-2. It's a 3-game series at this point. If you believe you're the better team, you live with those circumstances. Granted, you may not have home court, but if you go ahead and win game 5 and 6, you don't have to worry about going back to Oracle. So the ball is up for the taking at this point. Whoever wins game 5 is going to have a huge advantage those last 2 games, just playing with less pressure. If that's crazy to say at this point, being that whoever wins this series, we imagine may win the championship, but pressure will really be eased off of you if you win that game 5. Draymond has been great throughout this series to me. He's really improved. He hasn't been the same Draymond throughout the regular season. He's really improved his shooting, decision-making. They're playing a lot of 2-on-1 basketball between him and Iguodala. Like you said earlier, the Rockets finally picked up on that in this game. They weren't going to let them just throw a whole bunch of alleys and get a whole bunch of layups all game. KD, automatic. Nothing to be said about him. He's phenomenal. Klay has been struggling. And he's in the best position as a Warrior. He goes out there, he can play great, and we'll praise him. If he plays somewhat, and he only goes out there, he had 11 points tonight, nobody's really going to talk about his 11 points. Nobody's going to say Klay needs to step up his game, really. Because he's the third wheel. We look at KD and Steph to carry that scoring load. So he's in the best position. I don't see him leaving the Warriors looking at this. It'd be hard for him to leave, go to the Lakers or the Clippers, they're saying. He's in the best position to me. As far as the Rockets go, Chris Paul, he's been playing good, but I need him to play a little bit better if they're going to close out this series and actually win it. Eric Gordon, he's the most aggressive player on the team. As soon as he gets the ball, he's looking to score, attack whoever's on him, whether it be Steph or whoever's guarding him. He doesn't care. He's going to attack them, go to the rim, pull up from half court. That's Eric Gordon range. That's Eric Gordon range out there, all right? So lead out to Eric Gordon, all right, KD? And James Harden's been phenomenal. Like you say, he's finally playing the game that we want to play. He's not just shooting a whole bunch of step-back threes. He's letting it come within the offense, not forcing it. So shooting a couple mid-range shots here and there, shooting floaters. And that's been the difference these last 2 games.
Yeah. Also, going forward, I want to look at something you touched on is just bench play. That is so vital. I think the Rockets need to continue to impose their bench is better than the Warriors, honestly. Yeah. The Warriors bench has been weak ever since that 73-9 season where they got KD and they kind of broke the team up. Right now, the Warriors starting 5 is averaging 89% of their points per game, which basically means they're getting literally nothing from their bench. I think their highest bench scoring player right now is Sean Livingston at 3.7 points a game. So he's balling. But I'm gonna need more from that. I think the Rockets can look at that and they can attack that. And Iggy, right now he's shooting 54% from 3-point range. I don't think that's gonna last. Even at home, I don't think that's going to last. So I think the Rockets have the depth to get this done. Now, I still pick the Warriors in 7 ultimately because, I just got to see it. It's hard for me to pick somebody over the Warriors who've won, 2 in a row, 3 in a row, 3 of the last 4. Yeah. So, I think the bench is going to be very key for this team. I want to shout out P.J. Tucker. Yeah. Defense.
Every team can use a player like that.
Hustle plays, 3-point shots. Rebounding, all the little things. Every team needs a guy like him. Like you just said, every team could use a guy like P.J. Tucker. Plays his role, and he plays his role well. Eric Gordon plays his role, plays his role very well. Yeah. The Rockets have the tools to beat the Warriors. Now we're going to see if they can actually make it work because it all starts with James Harden. And I'm glad you touched on Chris Paul. I want to get there. I'm still not impressed with Chris Paul. He had a couple good plays tonight. He had a couple of good plays the other night. But I'm not seeing that guy from last year who was literally striking fear in the Warriors as soon as he crossed half court. Because he might pull up on you, dance on you. Now, he'll still do that from time to time now. But it's almost like the Rockets kind of aren't playing the same way they played last year. The ball's not quite in his hands as much because James Harden has been so ridiculous this year. So I understand that to an extent. But I still want to see more from Mr. Max Deal over the next 4 years.
Yeah, I think that's why the addition of Austin Rivers has been so huge. He's been able to
love Austin Rivers.
He's been able to pick up the slack that with Chris Paul last year. Like I said, he was performing like the best player in that series. He hasn't been top 4 players in this series. It looks like Eric Gordon may have took his place as the 4th best player in this series. So
maybe
Austin Rivers has really picked up where Chris Paul has lacked, whether it be playmaking and defending Steph on a few possessions. He's been great against Steph all season. He's shooting some of his worst percentages against Austin Rivers when he's guarding him. And I really love the fact that Harden and KD are starting to pick each other up on the defensive end. Obviously, they get switched off of each other because there's so much pick and roll and looking for certain matchups. But initially, they're usually guarding each other. For Harden, it's either him or PJ Tucker guarding KD. When guarding Harden, it's either KD or Klay Thompson usually initially on him, maybe Iguodala. And KD has really accepted that challenge, seeing it throughout Game 4. He really wanted to guard Harden down the stretch. And I love that to see that from two of the people that we consider possibly the best player in the game or top 5 players in this game. And it gives you that old school feel. A lot of players don't do that nowadays. They'd rather just, let me send my defensive specialist to guard you.
I was literally just about to say that. You don't see that too much more often. The best player match up with the best player and they go at it. When Kobe used to, I'm always reference Kobe. When Kobe used to play, he taking the best player. I ain't trying to hear all that, y'all middle world peace. I ain't trying to hear that. Kobe would get on the best player and say, hey, I got him, get out the way. You don't see that too much often, so you're right. I love seeing James Harden and Kevin Durant guard each other, go back and forth. That's what the best players in this league should be doing. They should be wanting to match up with the best and play against the best and perform against the best.
You make anything of Steph's injury or his low play throughout the last?
Nope.
Yeah, I say he did come out and drop 30 today, so he looked healthy today.
I'm not trying to.
I will say that.
I've said over the last couple of years, I am not trying to hear nothing about no Steph Curry injury in the playoffs. Unless he is off the court, I'm assuming he's fine. Mm-hmm. You're on the court, you got to play. Mm-hmm. We talked about James Harden, poked in his eye. Guess what? He's got to play. Steph Curry doesn't get a pass. You still have to play. I don't care. I saw him look at his hand early. Nope, don't even look at your hand. I ain't trying to see you look at your hand. Look at the basket.
Yeah.
And he had a good night tonight. So
he did.
It's just I hate the injury excuse.
Yeah, I mean, do you think is there anything to make of how the Rockets are keeping him in foul trouble, making sure that he's always defending every possession?
It's smart. That's exactly what you should do to take away a shooter. On defense, keep switching until you get him on whoever is ISO in that play, whether it be James Harden or Eric Gordon or even Chris Paul, and you make him work on the defensive end. Yeah. Take away his energy, take away his legs, then he's less effective on the offensive end. You let him sit around on defense, just kind of, play the lanes, play in the corners and stuff. He gonna have energy all night. And then the fourth quarter, this is the best front running team in the league. So let them get a lead. They could be at one point. Steph Curry gonna start hitting threes at that moment. They're the best front running team in the league. So I give credit where credit's due for the Rockets. Their game plan is being, they're executing their game plan very well. They're going right at Steph Curry. They're making him work. They're getting him tired. They're getting him in foul trouble. This is what you have to do. This is what the playoffs is about. Game planning for your opponent.
All right, switching over from one great series to another. Let's go ahead and head over to the East. Talk about the Raptors versus the 76ers. This series is another one tied up 2-2, heading back to Toronto. So, going into Game 5, who you got?
I got the Raptors.
You got Game 5? You got the Raptors?
I think the Raptors is going to win both of these games. I picked them in 6. It's tough, though. Like we said early in a couple episodes, I think Philly has arguably the best lineup in the league. It's an argument. When they're all clicking on all their cylinders, they're a hard team to beat. But I just think that Kawhi is playing at such a level right now. Jordan-esque, Kobe-esque. His numbers right now are better than any year them two have played in the playoffs. That's how extraordinary his numbers are. So I like the Raptors to win the next 2 games. Granted, it's going to require a lot. It's going to require Kawhi Leonard to be at his best. Yeah. I need Kyle Lowry. The game Kyle Lowry had the other night, that's what he has to do. You can't have less than 10 points in a game. You need 14. Gasol needs 14. He was averaging 2 before that night. Danny Green needs to be scoring. Those guys need to give just a little help. Not even a lot. If they could just provide a little help because Kawhi's going to carry the bulk of the offensive load anyway. So they just need a little help. I'm still sticking with my pick. I'm sticking with the Raptors. I think they're going to win these last 2 games, but they better be careful because the Sixers, they just have those random nights where everybody's clicking. We already talked about Jimmy Butler earlier, what he did to them in Game 2, and we saw how well they performed in Game 3. So we're going to see, but I'm still going to stick with the Raptors in 6.
Yeah, I'm going to push it back. I'm going to go Raptors in 7. I think this would be another 7-game series for us. It's been a lot of back and forth between these teams. One game, the Raptors played their best basketball. The other game, the 76ers play their best basketball. So I think it will go 7 games. I do think the Raptors will end up eventually winning. I think Kawhi Leonard is just too much for them to handle. Siakam's development has been something phenomenal throughout this year. It's been great for the Raptors. It's like adding another all-star player without actually going out there and paying another all-star player. Right. So it's been huge for them, especially with Kyle Lowry. You don't know if you're going to get 20-plus points or you're going to get between 2 and 10 points. Like, you never know what you're going to get with Kyle Lowry. So it's been huge that Siakam's been able to step up for them. Marc Gasol or Kyle Lowry, they have to be able to step up in these games because you know you have your two front-running scorers between Kawhi and Siakam. But the third scorer has to be Marc Gasol or Kyle Lowry. It could be either one of them any given night. It doesn't have to consistently be one. But at some point, one of them has to step up and say that you can dump down the ball to me if I'm Marc Gasol and you can count on me. You can kick it to me on the pick and pop. You can count on me. Kyle Lowry, you can count on me in the pick and roll and I'm going to make a play, whether it be from me or a teammate. And when the teammates aren't hitting, I need you to be that all-star that can go out there and get his own shot and actually be effective because there's no reason he should be getting locked down in this series. He can find a switch with J.J. Redick when he's out on the court, and that should be able to get you going for the most part. And a lot of times he's shooting open shots, and sometimes he still misses them. And that's puzzling to me, being that he is such a good regular season shooter.
Hey, don't be puzzled. This is Kyle Lowry. Now, look. I got a friend on Facebook who's a big Raptor fan who showed me some stats that Kyle Lowry stacks actually go up in the playoffs. I don't care because the optics ain't good. Yeah. It don't look like his stats going up. But another thing I wanted to talk about with the Raptors is that they're going to need help with is their bench. Ibaka, and before last game, horrible. He's averaging, 6 points on the series. Fred VanVleet averaged 11 during the regular season, only averaging a point. A point a game. You're playing 17 minutes, and you're only giving them a point a game. Yeah. He's been horrendous. I'm not really understanding why Jeremy Lin's not getting minutes, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah. The bench has to be special, too. Norman Powell, he's been okay, but he's still giving you about 2 points a game as well. So just to piggyback on...
the bench is their advantage. Between the Raptors and 76ers, the bench is where the Raptors depend on them to have their advantage. Because if you go starting lineup for starting lineup, it's kind of tough to see. Yeah. You may take the 76ers in the starting lineup battle because they have more star players, you would say.
Right.
The Raptors have the best player, but the 76ers, if you're just going starting lineup for starting lineup, I may take the 76ers. So the Raptors do have to have more bench production. And they're players that you don't expect to, just go cold or anything like that. They pretty consistent for the most part, except for this series. They just haven't been able to get it going. Maybe a testament to the 76ers defense. They're a very good defensive team. Like I said, the only weak link may be J.J. Redick. Everybody else locks up for the most part. A lot of people are praising Ben Simmons' defense, and don't get me wrong, he's a very good perimeter defender. But him being on Kawhi Leonard has not affected him in any way. He's having his best series maybe ever. So
first of all, there's nothing Ben Simmons can do with Kawhi Leonard or anybody on the Sixers.
Yeah, Kawhi's on another level right now. I don't understand why people are praising Ben Simmons' defense. I understand he may be doing the best job I guess you can do, but he's not stopping the man at all. So he's been good. Jimmy Butler's been pretty good. Jimmy Butler's been great, actually. Not pretty good. He's been great. Embiid has been somewhat inconsistent. I think he's playing himself into shape. So maybe as the series goes along, he may continue to play better and better. It's looking like a good series. I'm really enjoying this series a lot. Like I said, it's going back and forth. I don't know who's going to win the next game. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's been a joy to watch Kawhi finally be back healthy.
Yeah, and just to go off what you said earlier, the Sixers have 6 people averaging double figures right now. First off, I got a very good name for you that I want you to speak to. I want you to speak to this name I'm going to say. What do you think about James Ennis III, averaging 10 points a game, shooting 35% from the 3-point line, 51% from the field? James, where was this in Houston?
That's what I was going to say. Where was this in Houston? He would still be on the team if he was doing this shit. I don't understand. He's making a lot of tough shots with the Sixers, watching their games. He's hitting some fadeaway threes here and there. Some mid-range shots
in the paint, flexing.
I don't know where that came from. And I mean, I'm happy for him. He's playing good. And he's a big reason why the Sixers are tied 2-2 in this series. So congratulations to him, and keep it going if you plan on winning this series. But with Houston, he was airballing open mid-range threes and things like that. I'm not sure where it came from, honestly.
Maybe y'all just won't give him the confidence he needs.
Mike D'Antoni, he gives everybody confidence.
Right.
I don't get it. I don't understand why he's showing out for the Sixers, but he wasn't doing it for Houston. But some places just don't work for some players. It's about finding, that system that works for you, players you're comfortable playing with, and he may have found a home for him going in the future. But I want to touch on one thing. Mark Jackson has said Embiid can be the best big man of all time. Do you agree with that statement? Do you think maybe he has to develop in certain areas before he can get to that? Or do you think he's already kind of there and he just has a longevity and resume to build up?
I don't think he is the best big man of all time. What he said he can, I believe that. I believe he can, but I believe he won't. Because I just don't know how long his health is going to hold up. What did he have?
Back surgery.
He's got knee tendonitis, and he's had all types of injuries. He's sick every 2 seconds. He had to take IVs at 6 in the morning. Right. It's just a lot, and he's a big body. A lot is going to depend on what he does in the offseason as far as diet-wise, getting his health right, take some of that pressure off them knees. I know I got knees problems. So I know with him being, how much does he weigh?
He weighs a good 280 at
280.
least, right? He's big out there.
Yeah, he's a big dude, man. All that pounding on your knees is not good. Pause. But anyways, look, the point I'm trying to make is, can he be the best big man of all time? Yes, I think he has the move set. He's almost Hakeem-like in the post with his footwork. He has a little, he's got it. He's got the fadeaway.
Yeah, he got it.
He's got some nice foot. I'll tell you this. He's had the best footwork as a big man in the paint, maybe since Hakeem. I'm trying to think of somebody else that I've seen this dominant in the paint with his type of, style, but I can't really think of one. So can he? Yes. Is it likely? No, because I don't think, even though I don't wish this on anybody, I just don't know how long his health is going to hold up, and I'm not very confident in it right now.
Yeah, I believe he has a skill set to be the best big man of all time, but when I look at the best big men, I think Wilt Chamberlain, I think Bill Russell, Shaq, Hakeem, Kareem. Those are kind of like the 5 that I'm probably thinking off the top of my head.
Right.
I don't think he'll be able to be better than them. If I look at Wilt, that's just utter dominance, and I don't think anybody's going to be able to touch his numbers and everything like that. Shaq, it's just next level dominance. Just the girth that he had.
The girth. The girth.
Extreme skill that he had. Like, he wasn't just big and, just knocking players around. He was actually skilled at the same time. Moving somewhat like, I'm not going to say like a guard, but he moved around great for his size.
But no, you're right. He used to play point guard.
Like, he moves around like Embiid, and he was even bigger than Embiid is. So, I don't think he will be the best big man of all time. His skill set says that he can. Maybe if he improves his 3-point shooting, if he gets into like 35% from 3, you're looking at somebody that's truly unguardable. At this point, he's hard to guard, but he's not unguardable at this point. We're seeing it with Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol's had some success guarding him. You've seen Al Horford. He has success guarding Joel Embiid. If he's able to become a better shooter and he's actually going to, consistently take that 3-point shot, if he becomes a better shooter over the offseason, gets into shape, take some of that weight off of him and things like that, quit hitting the floor so damn much.
Oh, my God.
You are too damn big to be falling all the time.
It seems like the people who get hurt the most always on the ground. Boy, get up. What you doing?
I don't understand why he always hitting the ground. Like, I love the hustle that he plays with, but you're too valuable to your franchise to be always hitting the ground. Because, when he hits the ground, we all hold our breath. Is he going to get back up? Is everything okay? So he has to stay healthy. Like you said, he has to stay healthy if he plans on being an all-time great big man. Let's go ahead over to the West, though. We had a Nuggets versus Blazers series. Game 2, Game 3, and 4. End up tying the series 2-2 for going back to Denver for Game 5 tomorrow. Game 3, man. Quadruple overtime. Did you watch it?
I did watch it. I was out. I told you my boy got married. Shout out Jake. Got married this weekend, but we were having a little kickback on Friday, and I was watching it on my phone. I was like, let me catch the last minute of the fourth. And then 5 overtimes later, my arm thanked me for putting my phone down. That was an insane game. What'd you think about it?
It was great, man. I caught it as well. I was just waiting for the game to end. After the second overtime, I was like, all right, when's this gonna end?
Like, yo, do y'all want to win? Or
it was very nice to see that fourth overtime. It was crazy. Rodney Hood checked in.
Fresh ass legs.
Galloping on the floor.
That was a classic. If you ever been to the gym and been on a team that's been winning all day, like you done won like maybe 6-7 games, and then fresh legs come in, and you know you probably gonna lose the game. They hype that they beating you. Get off the you just came in. I've been here all morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rodney Hood came in. He was clutch. He was posting them up a couple times. He had a couple turnaround jumpers. Mm-hmm. Another player on that LeBron Cavs team last year who couldn't figure it out, but with a new environment, maybe a little bit less pressure, not playing with LeBron and not having to be scrutinized for every shot. He's been showing up big for them late in these games. He hit the eventual game-winning 3.
Right.
With CJ, I believe he had missed like a mid-range jumper. He got his own rebound, kicked it out to Rodney Hood, which is great energy in the fourth quarter of a game to be able to miss a mid-range jump shot and get your own rebound and be able to kick it out. So shout out to CJ for that. He dropped 41 in that game. I believe he was great. It was a great game to watch, man. I was watching, and when Jokic had went to the free throw line to I believe eventually like tie the game. I don't remember how much time was left. It was like a minute left in the game. He went to the free throw line. He ended up missing that first or second free throw. I don't remember which one, but he had missed one of the free throws. While he was at the free throw line, I was just thinking, this is not the best situation to be in. Fourth overtime. I know you're fatigued. The first thing that goes when you're fatigued is your mental part.
Right.
When you're at the free throw line, all you're thinking about is it's just you and your thoughts. Like that's all it is. So that's what I was thinking when he went to the line, and it didn't surprise me that he did miss one of those free throws, and that was kind of the tipping point in the quadruple overtime game.
And let's remember, Jokic played 65 minutes.
Yeah.
I think the stat they gave, it was the most minutes by a 7-footer ever. He played for an hour, son. An hour and 5 minutes.
Almost 2 games, about.
Like that's crazy. So when it comes down to 4 overtimes like that, like you said, your mental is so important because your body's almost on practically the verge of giving up. So everything becomes. That's why I put Rodney Hood in at that time was a smart thing to do. Mm-hmm. He only played, I think it was like 24 minutes that night. So he was coming in fresh. But you're right. Being in a new team, he probably felt less pressure. He's probably been empowered a little bit more. When he went to the Cavs, I think people were looking for him to be a scorer instantly. Like, yo, we need you to score right now because LeBron needs help. And I think it was just too much at one time. It was kind of rushed because he was always good with the Jazz, always killing my Lakers, dropping 30 here, 30 there. So now we're starting to see him get more comfortable. He might have found him a new home right here. So I like what I've seen from Rodney Hood so far in this series.
All right. Thinking about Game 4, what do you think about Game 4? Steph Curry, he had exploded right before the second half. A lot of people were joking, best Curry of the weekend. Me and Steph were struggling and things like that. He had came in and hit like 3 straight threes, hit a fadeaway 3 going into halftime. He had a great second quarter. The Nuggets did end up winning this game, although the Blazers did get a lot of support and cast help. Will Barton hit a lot of clutch threes down through the last fourth quarter. He had like 2 clutch threes in the final 5 minutes. Gary Harris hit a clutch pull-up mid-range and an and-one layup, I believe.
They were hitting a lot of shots.
It was a lot.
Like the Blazers could not get a stop whatsoever, whether it be from mid-range or 3-point. The Nuggets just kept hitting shots, and that's the thing about them. They may not be like a all superstar team, like, you know, the Warriors or to a lesser extent the Sixers, but they have their one star, and then they have a bunch of guys who can put the ball in the bucket.
Hey, don't disrespect Jamal Murray like that. He's a star.
Look,
he's working to be a star.
Jamal Murray is a good player. He's a B+ player.
Oh.
All right? He's a B+ player.
Okay, that's fair.
That's
fair. B+ player.
I can't give him – this is what, his first playoffs?
Yeah.
He's averaging 26 points a game, which is amazing. Shooting 44% from the field, shooting 36% from three-point range. But let's see what he does, because he's also one of those guys that can be very hot, or he could be very cold,
Yeah.
shoot you right out of a game. Yeah, no, stop that. Stop
Kobe, what you mean?
So, Jamal Murray, it's not that I don't like the guy. He's just, I'm a Laker fan.
I think he's a star. I
don't think he's a star yet. I don't want to give him that yet.
Okay.
Let me get another
coming down the stretch throughout game 4, hitting those clutch free throws. Like you said, he's shooting 100% from the free throw line throughout this series. He's been clutch, man. And
hey, look, my dad used to always tell me growing up, you should always hit your free throws. They free.
We say that, but we watching the games.
Right?
A lot of players,
James Harden missed the damn free throw tonight.
James and Chris Paul, like people that we assume the best free throw shooters in the league, some of the best free throw shooters of all time, they still miss their free throws sometime in the clutch. And a young boy like that, I believe he's in his 3rd season, to come down and just hit 11 for 11 from the free throw line is just big to me. And he showed up huge in that game, hit shots over the backboard, like I said, dunking over players, things I didn't think he was capable of. He showed me that the way he works on throughout the offseason, every day on his game, he's starting to see those results. And I'm really liking the development I'm seeing from him.
If you guys were interested in how well he's shooting his free throws, like David said, he's shooting 100%. He's 18 for 18 throughout this whole series. So, hey, look, man, I'm not a hater. Shout out Jamal Murray. He's playing well. I don't think they're going to win this series. I think the Blazers are going to win in 7. I just have a little bit more trust, even though it's weird to say this. I just have more trust in Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum. They're both averaging. I think C.J. McCollum's averaging like 20. Yeah, he's averaging 26 points a game. Damian Lillard's averaging 27. Both of them are shooting about 42% from the field. And C.J. McCollum is shooting 40% from 3. Well, close, 39. Mm-hmm. So I just like their team more, even though the Nuggets have a legit shot at winning this, because I still don't think Cantor can guard Joe. He's been doing a great job hurt, and I'll give him that. He's averaging 16 and 10, so I can't take that away from him. Yeah. But there is, there's a little hole where I feel like, okay, Jokic should be dominating him. He's only playing with one arm, basically. Yeah. But, hey, he's impressive on the offensive boards. He's been doing his thing. But I'm still going to go with Portland in 7, though. Yeah.
Still rocking with my pick of Portland in 7.
Yeah.
All these series have been great so far. I just hope if we get 3 game 7s, or if the Celtics can bring it back and take a game 7, this is making out to be maybe the best second round of all time. Like I'm kind of on that wave now, being that we've been able to see these teams go against each other. Mm-hmm. It's great competition. Every series, there's no series that's been lacking. Maybe the Bucks and Celtics, but
and even still, just the star power from that, I wouldn't even say lacking. It's
just a better team. It's just one better team. But every other series between the Raptors and 76ers, that's been great. And the other two, they've been great as well. Every series has lived up to the hype, and these players are starting to deliver. All the stars are showing up for the most part. It's been great to watch, man. It's been great. I'm very happy that we've been able to watch this as fans.
Yeah, like I said before this second round started, this could possibly be one of the most competitive second rounds we've ever seen. And I think it's living up to that. Yes, we do have the 3-1 Milwaukee over Boston right now. But, hey, you never know.
Yeah.
Kyrie can all of a sudden just click like that, start hitting shots again, and this could be a series again in 2 games. So I'm really eager to see that. It's hard for me to say the Celtics would be going down in 5. I can't believe that.
They're a resilient bunch. So it's like I do have faith that they may be able to take it back to Boston, and who knows what happens after that. So
small note that I forgot to mention during our Celtics talk. Jason Tatum, so far from the 3-point line in this series, 0%. 0 from 8. Y'all keep telling me he the next Kobe. Stop it. No. Stop it. Stop it. I don't want to hear that no more. I don't want to hear it. Wait till he get a little hair on his chest. All right? He 0 from 8 from 3. He's been one of the weak links on the Celtics. I just wanted to make sure that got said.
All right, so we're going to head over to I sent out a question on Twitter right before we started recording, so we're going to get to some of these questions that we were asked throughout the on Twitter. So we're going to start off by one of our dear friends, No Days Off. He had asked, do you think Kyrie can leave Boston after drastically flopping like that? So after game 4, Kyrie hasn't been shooting good throughout this whole entire series. Do you think he'll be able to leave Boston, I guess, being that he hasn't been able to show up, that he hasn't been able to deliver, and everybody else around him has been playing great? Do you think he'll be able to leave Boston and not receive, I guess, much criticism? Do you think he'll care about that?
Well, from what we've learned from Kyrie so far in his career, I think he can leave Boston no matter what happens. Championship won, championship lost, they losing 5. Kyrie is the type, if he want to leave, he gonna leave. Like, it don't matter about the flopping or whatever you want to call it. Kyrie has definitely told us he's his own man. You saw how he act. I remember the episode of First Take when he was getting interviewed by Max Kellerman, and he was ignoring his questions and was like, kind of giving him the face like, what kind of question?
Kyrie gonna do what he want to do.
Yeah, Kyrie's gonna do what he wants to do at the end of the day. So whether that be staying with Boston or leaving, just best believe it ain't gonna be because of a bad performance whether he leaves or not. It's gonna be what Kyrie wants to do.
I believe he can leave. The only thing that kind of, is the thing that's going to be on his mind when he is leaving is he did ask for his own team. Granted, none of those teams that he asked for on his list were the Celtics. So He may want to go to somewhere like Brooklyn or New York. So I could definitely see him going to a team like that and just being okay with that. I don't see him, saying, oh, I didn't deliver in Boston or I promised them I was going to resign. I don't see any of that playing too big of a factor in the offseason for him. So I can see him easily leaving and going to one of the New York teams or maybe even LA. I think the Lakers are starting to, pick up a lot of steam and getting Kyrie back, which would be very ironic. If he goes back to LeBron, he's going to have the whole Thanos situation. He couldn't live his truth.
Hey,
he got to come back.
Literally, I was thinking of that same line. You cannot live with your failures. Where did that bring you? Back to me. Back to Bron.
LeBron is inevitable.
Look, it's okay, Kyrie. Come on down. We put you right in that 2 position. We'll have Lonzo, we'll have Kyrie. You can play off ball. You can
too
shoot.
much Laker.
We got LeBron. Hey, look, I got the system ready in place. Come on,
too much Laker recruiting going on.
But what I was gonna say, just the last thing on Kyrie. Another reason why I think he'll leave no matter what. Remember what he said earlier in the season when asked about his plans. I don't owe anybody shit. Mm-hmm. So that statement right there, just remember that statement.
Right before.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we had another question from In the Raptors Pod, a Celtics podcast. You should check them out. They asked how much of an impact will Marcus Smart have? And that was before Game 4 happened, so we've seen a little bit of the outcome of that. Do you think he'll be able to have some more of an impact Game 5 and maybe 6 and 7 if we get there?
He's a great defender, so he'll have some good impact on the defensive side. Now, what we saw tonight was on the offensive, 1 for 7 tonight, 1 for 7 from 3 overall. All he shot was 3-pointers. Marcus Smart is a good glue guy for this team, but I feel like they have too many pieces. Now they've added him back. Now all of a sudden people can't shoot. Terry Rozier went 1 for 5. Marcus Smart was 1 for 7. Yeah. Gordon Hayward was like 1 for something or 0 for 2. I can't remember the stat off the top of my head. But does he help the Celtics at the end of the day? Yes. But is he going to make a big enough difference in this series? From what I've seen so far, no. It's not like they need to put him, he can guard Giannis and stop Giannis. I don't see that happening. Mm-hmm. Most likely he'll take a guard and he'll make it tough for those 3-point shooters. But when you've got a superstar like Giannis who commands so much attention in the middle, I think that totally negates a guy like Marcus Smart and his ability to affect the game. So will he make a difference? Sure, he'll make a small one. But as we saw tonight, not enough to get the victory.
Yeah, Gordon Hayward, he was 1 for 5.
1 for 5.
He's 1 for 5. You got to produce more than that. But with Giannis' reaction after the post game, he looked at the scores sheet. They asked him about Marcus Smart, and he was just like, "Okay, Marcus Smart, yeah." So that's kind of the reaction I have. Coming off a torn oblique, he's not going to be able to play as physical as he wants to. So that's kind of where I chalk it up to.
Right.
He's not going to be able to be the same player. And the reason that he got the contract he got over the offseason, he's not going to be able to bring that grit and that toughness that he's used to bringing because of such an injury like that. But let's go ahead and get over to our next question. So we were asked, who wins the NFC North if the Browns do not? Will it be the Ravens, Steelers, or Bengals?
Well, you brought an interesting point up to me earlier because I was instantly just going to pick the Steelers. You got the coach, you got the Hall of Fame quarterback, you've got some consistency there with that team, even though they have lost Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. But now when I think about the Ravens, even though Lamar Jackson may not be the quarterback that Big Ben is right now, they did go out and add Mark Ingram, which is going to help a lot. Who'd you say they added? They added Earl Thomas on the defensive end. Yeah. So these are some good pieces for the Ravens. I think they're still a year away before we see their full potential. So I think the safe bet is the Steelers. They've been there. They've done that. I like their defense. I like name slipping me right now, TJ Watt on the defensive side of the ball. I like a lot about the Steelers. I think you got some of the distractions out of the locker room, even though they were great players, as we've seen with teams like the Patriots. You don't really need a star wide receiver over there if you have the right quarterback and the
still got Juju.
Yeah, you still got Juju Smith-Schuster, so they still have some things. My safe pick is the Steelers. I'm gonna go with them. I think the Ravens are still a year away from reaching their full potential.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Steelers as well. The Ravens, they had a great year last year, but I think they lost too many pieces to get back to winning that division and making the playoffs. So I have the Steelers making a bounce back from last year. Assuming James Conner's healthy, Juju and Ben Roethlisberger are still good. Mike Tomlin is a consistent coach. He consistently makes the playoffs for the most part. Last year, I believe he's only missed the playoffs like once or twice. Hasn't finished under 500 ever. So things like that. It's just the consistency of the Steelers organization. I think it's just going to reign true, and they'll probably, if the Browns do not win it, the Steelers will win that division, if you ask me. Now getting on to our last question from Glohan G. The best era of football. What do you think the best era of football? So we'll break this down into decades. Is that what we're trying to break it down into?
I'm going to just keep it simple. The best era of football was an era of football that I was alive for, that I could see. So I'm going to take 2000 and up. That's when I can say I consistently watch football. I've been able to, know what's going on and see around. I'm going to say that. I'm not going to try to break it down smaller because I'd be fooling you if I tried to get all specific and things. From the time your boy, Mike White's been alive and able to recognize what's going on that screen, that's been the best era of football. I've lived in there with Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben, Donovan McNabb, who else? Michael Vick. Yeah. We've had,
some greats.
When you look at it, that 2000 to 2010, that's not bad.
That's what I was going to say, 2000, 2010.
But even still, like today, you got Mahomes. You still have Brady.
I understand the players. My argument would be the rules and the way I watched football back at that time. At that time, from 2000 to 2010, it was...
You could play defense.
Yeah, it was just a lot more defense. It was even on both sides for the most part. Now I just look at it more of a offensive game. Fantasy football has taken over. They want to see a lot of stats from these players. So, I mean, it's great to see. I applaud all these, the great numbers that they put up. Patrick Mahomes doing great things. Andrew Luck doing great things. Like, we have a lot of great players, not to diminish anything they're doing, but the football that I enjoyed the most was from 2000 to, say, 2010. Just watching great players, but also great defensive players as well. Being able to play, knock people's heads off. I understand it all, concussions and things like that. It's very real. So I understand it, and it's the evolution of the game, and it's supposed to happen. So I applaud that for, the league going forward, the players union, getting things like that handled. But my favorite time to watch was between them.
Yeah, and we also can't forget we've had some very soon to be called legendary teams in that time span. You've got the Patriots dynasty. You've got Drew Brees Saints fresh off Hurricane Katrina winning a Super Bowl. Who else do we have in this time span?
Yeah, the Packers.
You can't forget them boys.
Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. I'm definitely going to take two. I'll sum it down for y'all. 2000 to 2010. That was the best era of football for me. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm not going to say it was the 80s. I wasn't alive. So.
Yeah. I can't speak on what was before me. I'm sorry. But that was all for our questions for today. Did you want to touch up on the coaches at all?
We can touch up on the coaches.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Monty Williams, he went to the Suns. He's going to be there coaching throughout the future. Apparently, he picked the Suns over the Lakers. How do you feel about him picking the Suns over the Lakers?
I was upset. I told you I wanted us to hire Monty Williams. I felt like he was the right pick for going forward as far as young guys. He could work with LeBron. He's well respected throughout the league, but ultimately, it's his decision. He decided to sign with the Suns. I have no problem with it. Excuse me. Going to the Suns, though, I mean, what can we expect from the Suns? They won 19 games last year. What are they going to win next year? Maybe, 23 to 25? The West is so tough. I mean, yes, you have Devin Booker, you have DeAndre Ayton, and you're going to have a top 5 pick, which you hope could be Ja Morant to finish that young core out. So I wish him nothing but the best, but I don't think the Suns are going to be a team that I'm going to have to worry about for a while because at the end of the day, it's Phoenix, man. It's just Phoenix, and I don't think people want to stay there. And yeah, congrats, Monty.
Apparently, he picked the Suns over the Lakers because he believed more in their front office, which speaks a lot to the Lakers organization.
I can't blame him for that.
Earlier. So, with that being said, Monty Williams, I believe he's going to be a very good coach for these young players. He'll be able to, teach them some of the tricks of the league, some of the things that they need to be doing to eventually become great. Devin Booker's already on that trajectory of becoming a great player. DeAndre Ayton still has some kinks to work out. And whoever they draft, whether it be Zion, Ja Morant, or RJ Barrett, somebody like that, I believe whoever comes, Monty Williams will be a good mentor to them. And I'm happy to see that he does have a head coaching job finally. So congratulations to him going to Phoenix. Nothing but the best for him. So let's go ahead and head over to the Lakers. It's assumed that they're working out a deal with Tyronn Lue. It hasn't become official yet, but apparently they're working on a contract and he'll become the new Lakers head coach.
So that was my second choice. I'm not really too mad. Hey, Ty Lue, he's been in the playoffs. He's won a championship. Most importantly, he's worked with our best player and had a good working relationship with him, LeBron James. So these are all key going forward. He's a good X's and O guys according to people around the NBA. So that'll be key for two because there was times where I was wondering what Luke was doing with the offense and the rotations. So hopefully he comes in, gets some stability, puts guys in the right position to be successful. But yeah, like I said, Ty Lue, I can't be mad at the pick because ultimately at the end of the day, we have LeBron and we need somebody he gets along with or it's just a waste of time. So welcome, Ty Lue. Do your thing, man. Get your boy to play some defense.
Yeah, like you said, you don't have any time to waste. You need somebody that you can plug in immediately, and you know that for the most part it's gonna work. Like you don't have to question Ty Lue and LeBron's relationship, how it's gonna work. They already have a relationship and they already have history, and they've won a championship with that history. So with LeBron starting to go to the other end of his career, you don't have any time to waste. So that's why the hire for Tyronn Lue makes sense to me. He's a good coach. Like you said, X's and O's. Watching him throughout that finals, he maneuvered great with lineup adjustments, who works best, how to attack. He kind of set up that how to attack the Warriors, go after Steph and things like that, keep him in foul trouble and all that type of stuff. So all that plays a big factor, and I think that's a great hire for the Lakers. I really believe that's a great hire for the Lakers. So, last thing that we want to touch on, D'Angelo Russell, man. D'Angelo Russell, Arizona T-Cans, the oldest trick in the book, high school. And Will Kane brought up the best thing, contraband. What are you doing, D'Angelo Russell? How many flights you been on and they done told you to throw away your drink? You didn't think that they were going to do that against you? You would have been better off putting it in like just the pocket of the suitcase. Like, you would have been better off doing that than just having it in an Arizona T-Can, which it was just nonsense for a player that travels so much.
Hey, man, look. We talked all this playoffs about how D'Angelo's this leader and all this stuff now, and that could all beat you on the court. But he's still a kid at heart and not thinking, like, why? And I have to say this in the wise words of my man Stephen A. Smith. Stay off the weeds. Stop it. You got caught, man. Come on, son. You couldn't wait till you touched down, then hit up your boy to, do what you got to do. You couldn't do none of that. You had to bring on. You D'Angelo Russell. Right. You can get weed wherever you go.
Exactly. So, you would have been straight. Like, that's exactly what it is. You would have been straight. Don't travel with it. Like, bro. You pick it up. You hit up whoever your connect is, and they hook you up, right? But anyway,
it's crazy, man.
With D'Angelo, why you just wait till you get paid? That's where I'm at. Just wait till you get paid. At least he's going into the summer. I believe he's up for an extension. So at least wait till you get paid before you start making these stupid mistakes. Because now the Nets are going to look at you and they're going to say, okay, should we pay you all this? You haven't matured the way we thought you were. You didn't play the best out of everybody in the Nets. LeVert played great. Spencer Dinwiddie played great. So we're not sure if we want to keep you or one of the other young players.
They literally have guys in your same position.
Exactly. So it's a lot of competition there. And I know he wants to get paid. So this type of thing does not help him at all going to what his agent's going to say in the future and things like that.
But thank you once again, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of Here's the Deal. Going over our little time limit here, so we're going to wrap this up today. Again, thank you for everybody who's tuning in on whatever platform you may be listening us to. Thank you, everyone who submitted questions on Twitter. Please, all week, do that. We'll answer all your questions right here on the episode. David, anything to say to the peeps?
Here's the deal.
Thank you for listening to Here's the Deal podcast. Tune in for next week's episode. And don't forget to add the Here's the Deal podcast Facebook and Twitter pages.